Hi there, sewing friends, and welcome back to my sewing table. I'm Catherine, and today we're diving into a really fun project. I'm going to be making myself a birthday outfit. I say outfit because I'm going to be making all of the pieces separate. I'll make the skirt and the skirt overlay, as well as the upper bodice and any other piece that I decide to make. I don't have the design fully formed yet, but I know we're going to have a full voluminous Dior-like skirt and a corset-like boned bodice. So grab a cup of tea or some thread and fabric and let's get to sewing. All right, supplies for the skirt. I have 2 yards of stiff crinoline netting. I have a few yards of satin, and this here I'm also going to use for the bodice, but this will be the underlayer of the skirt. And then I have 15 yards of this sparkle tulle. It's a much lighter, fluffier tulle than the crinoline. And finally, I've got some elastic. I'm planning on this actually being my waistband and having my elastic exposed. So I wanted nice satiny elastic. So that's the supplies. I am now going to get to cutting out my many layers of tulle and crinoline and underlayer. And hopefully there's enough left over in order to squeeze out the bodice. But first, we're going to get to doing the skirt. Before I get to cutting, I need to make my pattern. So I'm actually just going to be creating a simple circle skirt pattern, but instead of doing my waist circumference, I'm going to do my hip circumference. So I've taken my hip measurement and I've added 2 inches. 2 inches for seam allowance and a little bit of ease. Once you have that measurement, you're going to divide it by 3.14, which is going to give you the diameter of a circle. And then from there, you'll divide it by 2, which will get us the radius. So I'm going to take that, which is for me 6.5 inches, and I'm going to create sort of a little half moon on my pattern paper. From here, I'm actually just going to measure from this line outwards in all directions the length that I want it to be. So for example, if I want it 33 inches, I'm going to measure from this line out 33 inches, and I will continue until I have completed my pattern. This will be cut on the half. So I will have a cut fold here, and then this will be our seam allowance. And this will give us one piece. So my front and my back are going to be essentially the same. I'll be adding the elastic up at the top, and so there will end up being a few gathers in here, but that is what my pattern will look like. I'm now going to do it in full size and cut it out. Finally got everything cut out. I have 8 layers of tulle, 2 layers of crinoline, and then 1 layer of the satin fabric. It took a long time to cut everything out, so that's where I'm going to leave it for today, and we will actually sew everything up on the skirt tomorrow. Okay friends, it's the next morning. I'm going to get my hair cut in like an hour, and I want to get all of the skirt panels sewn up before then. I don't think it'll take me very long because it's really just straight stitches. I've decided to use my overlocker, and I'm going to overlock all of the side seams. So let's go. She is sewn up and fluffy. I have attached all of the layers at top with pins. When I get back, I am going to sew it up and we'll attach the waistband. I'm hoping that she has enough volume. I mean, she is looking fluffy. So I think it's gonna have the drum I want. If not, I do have some extra crinoline and I could add additional layers in between at the bottom, just at the bottom, so that we don't add any more bulk to the top. But that's where we are. I'm gonna go get my hair cut and then we'll get back and we'll attach the waistband and take a look at our volume. All right, this fluff ball is the skirt. We're now gonna get our waistband going. So I have measured out my waist plus just a little extra. I have connected both ends with a zigzag stitch, and the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to actually fold it inwards so that zigzag stitch is right in the middle. And I'm going to pin it in place, and then I'm going to use a double needle and I'm going to just top stitch down right along the edge, and it'll be nicely contained. This is my elastic stitched up. It's nice and clean. Next, I have marked the side seam position, the front waist position, the other side seam, and then this will be at the back. And on my fluff ball, I have my side seams and the pins denote front and back. So we're just gonna take this at these points. I'm gonna make sure they line up. This is gonna be topped on. And of course, it is bigger on the skirt than it is on the waistband. So, put it on. Uh-oh. Try again. Pin it on. And make sure I'm matching up all of my points. And all of this floof is going to get gathered into here. So as I sew, I'm going to gently stretch, and I'm going to top stitch with a double needle, so it'll maintain some of that stretch integrity in the back. Then when you're done, it'll gather. I'm going to do that all the way around the top, and then my waistband will be done. All right, I got the waistband on. Now I just need to let the bottom layer settle. The tulle isn't going to settle at all. There won't be any stretching or warping, but since that satin is cut on the bias along the hemline, I do actually need to let that one settle. So I guess we'll finish her in about 24 hours. All right, while our skirt hangs out, we're going to drape our corset. I have padded out my form just to help in the grading process, and I have created a few additional design lines. So for my corset, I want to create a couple of additional panels that are actually on my form. There's one here. We're going to have a center front seam. We're going to have an additional one along the side front, and an additional one along the back, side back here. And then we'll have just the center back seam. All right, our drape is finished, and so am I for the day. I'm going to wrap her up and I will cut it out tomorrow and do the first fitting. Fingers crossed. I'm hoping it fits really well. I read somewhere when making a corset that we need to reduce the circumference 2 to 3 inches in order to get a good fit. So I'm hoping that it just fits great right off of the dress form, because she is about 2 inches smaller than I am. Till tomorrow, my friends, till tomorrow. It's a new day, my friends. I got all of the corset pieces cut out and interfaced. I don't have a lining picked out for this yet. I kind of wanted to do a cotton because it just would feel nice and be breathable against the skin. I do have this polyester satin that's
lovely, but it's just not quite what I was thinking. I might end up using it. I'm not sure yet. I'm going to start by just getting the fashion fabric constructed, and then we'll see what I decide to do after that with the lining. I have the shell constructed, and now I am just starting to cut out the lining. I'm just using a cotton fabric. It's not super sturdy, not super drapey. It's just your basic, almost like quilting cotton. So I'm gonna get all of those pieces cut out and then straight line sew. And from there, I'm actually just gonna put the lining, oh wait, hold on. I just realized I don't wanna do my center back piece in cotton. I wanted to do it in the satin fabric. So we're going to do that, and then let me sew this up and then we'll reconnect after that.
All right, we've time hopped just a little bit. I took the lining and I stuck wrong sides together with the shell fabric. Center back seam constructed, and then I put in my eyelets. And I know this is a little out of normal procedure when you're making a corset, but I wasn't 100% on the fit, and so I didn't want to finish it and put the boning in before I did the eyelets. So I put the eyelets in, and now I'm going to try it on with some, I think I've got some extra shoelaces, so I think I'm going to use that, and then I'm going to lace it up, and I'm going to see if any fit changes need to be made. So that's where we're at. I did a little bit of a fitting and it fits pretty well. I am going to take it in at the very top of the bust, which is whenever I make something strapless, usually where I need to take it in. And then I think I'm going to just shave off a little bit of the side seam. And then we're going to get to doing the boning. So we're getting, well, I guess we're not getting almost there. We're about halfway through. All right, I have been really bad about filming this corset making process. I got the bonings in, I got the bones in. I built the channels just based off of the seam allowance on the satin fabric, and then I just slid the bones in. And I have already started the bias tape attachment at the top. I'm gonna hand stitch on the back, I think. And I'm just now putting on the bias tape on the bottom. And I just made the bias tape out of extra satin fabric I have. So I'm going to pretty much finish up the corset, and then we will recap probably, I don't know, maybe later tonight or maybe tomorrow, depending on how long it takes me to hand stitch this, on what we're going to do with our fancy fabric. Okay, that's it for now. Signing off. I've finished the base garment. This bodice has given me quite a bit of trouble, but we got her done. She's not perfect. There's room for improvement. So next time I do a bone bodice, I'll do it better. But anyway, I can now move on to using the fancy fabric. I got this. It's a mesh with these embroidered flowers and vines on it, and then just little sequins all throughout on the buds. I got about 2 yards of this from Joann's, and I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to do regarding the actual upper bodice yet and how I'm going to use this. So I'm going to start with the skirt, because I'm going to build the skirt the same way that I did this, but instead of using my hip measurement, I'm going to use my waist measurement and have a zip up the back. That will give me an idea of how much I have to play with when I actually do the bodice portion, and that'll help me within my design realm. So I'm gonna cut out the skirt and get that sewn up, and then we will be able to figure out what to do about the bodice. All right, I cut out my skirts. They look great. So pretty. And I have very, very little fabric left. It's maybe half a yard in total. So we're gonna have to be very clever. I'm so happy with this zipper finish. I love it when that's clean finished on the inside too. So I did seam binding all along the edges, all along the seam allowance on the underskirt, and it is looking cute. So we are now going to move up to the top, and I think what I'm going to do is basically an overlay, but I want it to be more high-necked so that I'm revealing a little less of myself. And I think what we're going to do is kind of an open back, maybe with a couple of buttons, just spaced pretty far apart so that it still has a sort of romantic, alluring vibe to it. Also, please ignore the explosion on my sewing table. Absolute disaster. There are like 4 projects over there that I have been trying to finish before. All right, let's drape up the top and see how far we get. It should go pretty quickly, I'm thinking. It's not going to be structurally very complex. All right, we are going little croppy crop, cute, cute. I mean, I'll have the corset underneath, so I'm not too worried about belly exposure, but I think cute. I think cute. We are gonna add a closure up here, and then I think another down here. I'm gonna maybe do one in the middle, or maybe do 2 up at the top, and then leave the bottom open. I haven't decided yet. We'll see as it comes along. All right, I'm gonna cut out the fabric, and I hope she comes together. All right, darlings, we are nearly finished. The bodice is constructed. I did the same finishings on the side seams and on the shoulder seams as I did on the back, on the skirt. And then I have finished the back with just, I'm not even sure this is bias. I think it's just ribbon. Yeah, with like a polyester lightweight ribbon that I've had in my stash for years. One of the things I'm currently debating is whether or not to put this beautiful velvet ribbon down the back. I don't know if you can actually get a really good idea. Oh yeah, there we go. Shiny velvet. And putting it down the back on each side. I don't know if on camera it aesthetically looks any different, but in person it does give it a little bit more pizzazz. And then for my armholes and my neckline, I have cut a bunch of bias strips from the satin that I used for the underlayer of the skirt. And I'm just gonna finish it with that. So, last few decisions to be made, and then we can hem it, which is, I'm just gonna pull it up, I think. And if it even needs that, we might just be able to leave it as is. It's a mesh, so it's not gonna fray. I just wanna make sure that it looks clean and finished. But so far, I'm loving what we've got. She's pretty cute. Let me see if I can get you a better view of her. She's a little crop. But yeah, she's a really cutie, and I'm looking forward to having her over the corset. I think that'll be adorable. So let's wrap up the last little steps, and then we can see the final look.
And there you have it, my birthday outfit completed. I hope you enjoyed this sewing adventure as much as I enjoyed creating this project. I'm really happy with how it turned out. For future, the only change I would make is I'd raise the neckline just a little bit. I absolutely love the whimsy of the skirt and the volume. It's got great twirlability. So I'm very happy with all other aspects.
If you'd like to go on future sewing adventures, with me, go ahead and hit the subscribe and the like button. And of course, I'd love to see what you're working on as well. Leave a comment down below and let me know. And until next time, friends, stay inspired.